Okay, section 5.4, we will not get through all of 5.4. We'll get through part of 5.4. We're going to solve equations that have radicals in them. Solving equations is always the same. We need to get x by itself. You need to use inverse operations to get x by itself. X is right here, and it's surrounded by layers of math. We need to peel those layers away one at a time. So we're going to look for the most outside layer. What is the most outside thing being done to x right now? The most outside thing being done to x. That outer layer. What is that? It's the 2. How do we get rid of times by 2? Divide by 2. So we're going to use inverse operations. So now we have square root x plus 1 equals 4 divided by 2, 2. We go to the outer layer. What is the most outside layer right now? I can't hear you guys because you have masks on and you're super, super quiet. What's the outside layer? Square root. Square root is correct. So what's the inverse of square root? What's opposite of square root? What cancels out square root? I don't hear anything. Squared, thank you. So the squared will cancel out the square root. We get x plus 1 equals 4. And then we subtract 1, and we get x equals 3. Let's check our answer and make sure that's okay. 2 square root 3 plus 1 has to equal 4. 2 square root 4 equals 4. 2 times 2 equals 4. That checks. Question B. We're going to peel away the layers and get x by itself. What is the furthest thing away from x that I can get rid of? Yell it out. Come on, let's make this go faster. Yell it out. Be louder than me. I know it's not possible, but come on, Amar, let me hear you. So what do? Add 1. Let's add 1, both sides. So now I have cube root 2x minus 9 equals 3. What is the outermost thing done right now? The outermost thing being done is the Warren. Cube root. So to cancel out cube root, we do it to the third power. We cube it. Cube root and cubes cancel out. We get 2x minus 9. Oops, I forgot to do it to the other side. Equals 27. Jackson, what do I do next? Add 9. Perfect. So we get 2x equals 36. FOD, what do I do? Divide by 2. Excellent. X equals 18. Let's check it. Cube root, I've got 36 minus 9. Then minus 1 equals 2. I've got the cube root of 27 minus 1 equals 2. So I've got the cube. No. I've got to take the cube root. Got 3 minus 1 equals 2. Looks like it checks. Let's just try number 3 on our own. Try number 3 on your own. Try number 3 on your own. Try number 3 on your own. Let's see if Nina, who is not in here for this part of the lesson, can figure it out. because it's not hard. If you need help, I'm coming around. Do a number. You can do more, but we're doing number. Did you check it? Check it. Well, you got it. It's all right. It's easy. Right, guys? It's easy. Are you checking it? In your head or on the paper? The quote paper or quote paper. Jackson, what number are we doing right now? If you want to do more, that's great. But do more. Great job. Okay, so both sides, we're going to first divide by 2. If you don't divide by 2 first, you can still get the same answer, but you're probably going to make a mistake because that's what I see students normally do is make mistakes. Okay, then from here, it is cube root. So we are going to cube both sides to cancel out the cube root. Get x minus 3 equals 2 to the third, which is 8. Add 3. And we get 11. Can check it because I did see somebody in here, and I don't remember who, it doesn't matter, that did not have 11.
At this time, with the Latin Club and Philosophy and Debate, please report to the auxiliary gym. Latin Club.
So I check my answers, and I get the cube root of 11 minus 3, which is the cube root of 8, which is 2. And 2 times 2 is 4, so it checks. All right. Oh, shoot. Here's a real life situation. Maybe. In a hurricane, the mean sustained wind velocity V in meters per second can be modeled by this equation. P is the air pressure in millibars at the center of a hurricane. Estimate the air pressure at the center of the hurricane when the mean sustained wind velocity is 54.5 meters per second. So we are estimating the air pressure, and P is the air pressure. That's what we're solving for. So we're going to put in 54.5 into the V of P spot. So we're going to peel away those layers. Jacob, what should I do first? Divide by 6.3. Sounds like I can use my calculator for this one. Yeah, you guys agree? I'm not doing that by hand. Okay, so, I guess I could do it up here. I got a horrible looking answer. So 54.5 divided by 6.3 is just awful. So I'm going to come back to that. Maybe I'll just leave it as a fraction. So what do we do next? Emma, what do we do next? I'm sorry, can you speak up a little louder? Yes, how do we undo the root? Perfect. We're going to square both sides to cancel out that root. I'm not going to do anything with this 54. I'm just going to leave it like that still. I'll just plug it in at into my calculator at the end. Oops. So 54.5 over 6.3 squared equals 1013 minus P. Ari, what do I need to do now? Okay, we're going to subtract it because it is a positive number. Does that say P equals? Ashley, you know how to make it into P equals? So we can divide by -1, or we can multiply by -1. Those will do the exact same thing. I'm usually a multiplier, but you can divide. Either's fine. So I'm going to get P equals, I'm going to have a negative parenthesis 54.5 divided by 6.3 squared. That was messy. Let me fix that. And squared, and then plus 1013. Now, I do not care if you're going to wait to the very end to type it all in, or if you're typing it in step by step. However you do it, you just got to make sure that you don't, after the step, you don't round it. I don't want you to type this number in again. So after this step, the next thing we did was square it. So I'm going to square it. You see how I do? Answer squared. So if you're doing it one step at a time, we're going to do it this way. Then we subtracted, was it 1013? Is that what it was? Is that what the number was? I'm not looking at that page. So I hit that, and then we multiplied it by -1. So I'm following the steps on the calculator that I did in my work. Or you could just wait till the end and type in negative parenthesis alpha y equals, and then do 54.5 over 6.3. This thing's in the way though, hold on. Squared plus 1013. So you can just type the whole thing in at the end if you want as well. Either is fine. So we have approximately 938. Did it say what to round to? I don't think it did. Did it say? No, it just says estimate. So 938. And then I look up here. It is a real life situation, and the air pressure is in millibars. So I write 938 millibars. I do not know what a millibar is, but that's how you measure pressure, apparently. So I copied it from the words, from the text. All right, we got one last little thing to do. Remember how we were checking? Okay. The reason why we're checking is occasionally raising each side of an equation to the same exponent may introduce solutions that are not solutions of the original question. And these solutions are extraneous solutions. When you do this procedure, you need to check your answers. So we haven't seen it yet, but now you're about to see something called an extraneous solution. Have we talked about those yet? Extraneous solution. When you see the word, you see extra solutions. So when I go and I look at this first question and I say, I need to get the x's on the same side. They're currently not on the same side. But before I can get them on the same side, I can't have square root 7x. I got to get rid of that. So how do I cancel out square root? How do I cancel out square root? I talk into this microphone like it's going to make me louder. It's not. What do? We square, right? But if I square this side, I have to square the other side too. So on the right side, I will get 7x plus 15. On the left side, I have to multiply out x plus 1 times x plus 1. Do not kill a puppy. You need to, that up there. You need to multiply it out. The answer is not x squared plus 1. You can do the grid if you like the grid. You could do FOIL. You might know the pattern. So I've done this so many times that I know the pattern. After you multiply it out, by whatever method you chose, we should have x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 7x plus 5. So what we did is we squared both sides and we made the exponents higher. The exponents tell us how many solutions there are. There was a 15 there. I was just joking. Yes, it should be 15. Thank you. Thank you for stopping me from making a future mistake. Thank you. So what we just did is we upped the power on the trinomial. We made it higher, so there's going to be more solutions than there originally were. So we're going to have extra solutions. So let's solve it. When we have a squared in it, our choices for solving, when we have a squared, our choices for solving could be square roots or complete the square with square roots. So those are kind of the same thing. We could factor, but if we factor, it has to say equals 0. Or we could do the quadratic formula. And if we use the quadratic formula, it has to equal 0. So all of this stuff we have done before. I usually don't choose the first one unless there isn't like a 2x term. If it's just an x squared, then I would use the first one. But I'm going to try to factor it. If not factor, I'm going to do quadratic formula. So I need to make this side say 0. So I'm going to take away the 7x, and I'm going to take away 15. And I get x squared minus 5x minus 14. The x squared can separate to be x and x. The minus 14 means one is going to be plus, one is going to be minus. To make 14, we could use 1 and 14 or 2 and 7. But I'm thinking 2 and 7 is going to help me get 5 in the middle. So that's my guess. And then my check would be 2x minus 7x. Does that equal 5x? Yes. So I factored it correctly. Now that it's factored, I set each factor equal to 0. And I get x equals -2 and x equals 7. So I get 2 answers. I think that's how you spell it. Okay, and then we need to check for extraneous. I'll make like a little table here. I'm going to check my x equals -2. I'm going to check my x equals 7. And we have to plug in -2 to both sides of the equation. So -2 plus 1 equals square root 7 times -2 plus 15. If you all use your calculator to help check, that is fine with me. It takes me longer to type it in my calculator than it does to just do the work. So sometimes I just do the work. But if you need your calculator to check, that's fine. So I plugged in -2 to both sides. On the left side, I got -1, but on the right side, I got +1. That's not the same answer. So this is telling me it does not check. How about 7? 7 plus 1 equals square root 7 times 7 plus 15. So 8 equals square root 49 plus 15. So 8 equals square root 64. 8 equals 8. That one does check. So because I have one that does not check, that's going to be extraneous.
At this time, will Women Empowering Women and Curling please report to the auxiliary gym? Women Empowering Women and Curling.
Oopsies, went way too far. So my solution for this is x equals 7. There's only one answer. I got 2 of them, but when I checked, one of these was extraneous. Okay, we're gonna do one more. Actually, do I have a cube in here? I better do a cube. Do I even have a cube? Maybe I didn't give you any cubes for homework. I can't remember if I have any cubes for homework. Okay. Okay, right now we have 2 radicals. We've got a radical on each side. So we can't just put the x's together because they're different square roots. So our first step for this one will be to square both sides. Will be to cancel out the square root. We're going to square both sides. On the left, we have a square root plus a number. So you have to write it twice.
At this time, will Women in Engineering please report to the auxiliary gym? Women in Engineering.
On the right, we have a square root squared, like the whole thing is a square root. Square it, those will cancel. So here's my first step. From here, we need to multiply these 2 binomials together. So if you want to make a grid, I'll make a grid over here. Or if you want to use FOIL, either's fine. So I get square root x plus 2 and a 1, then square root x plus 2, and then 1. When I multiply together square root x plus 2 and square root x plus 2, that equals x plus 2. Then I got 1 square root x plus 2. Then 1 square root of x plus 2. And then 1 times 1 is 1. So when I multiply these, I get x plus 2 plus 2 square root of x plus 2's plus 1 equals 3 minus x. So everything, all the things that we're doing here, you guys have done in a different chapter or this chapter. We're just combining a lot of stuff into one question. Okay, my goal is to get x by itself. And I have x's on both sides. So how about I subtract this x to put it on that side? How about I subtract this 2 and subtract this 1?
At this time, will TSA please report to the auxiliary gym? TSA.
So if I subtract this side, if I subtract the 3, the 2, and the 1, those all go away. Negative x and negative x gives me negative 2x, and I'm left with this lovely looking thing on the other side. We still have x's on both sides, but I cannot take the x to the other side until I get rid of the radical. So to get to this x, to get to this radical, there's a 2 in front. I'm just going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. And now I have square root of x plus 2 equals negative x. How do I get rid of a square root? Sierra, how do I cancel out a square root? What cancels what is the opposite of square root? I'll go up a little bit. How did I cancel out this square root? What did I do to cancel out the square root? I squared it. Okay, you guys, we squared it at the beginning, and that canceled this square root out, but it still left a square root here. So now, sometimes you have to square a second time. You have to square a second time. So I'm going to square it a second time, so that will cancel out my square root here. And I get x plus 2 equals positive x squared, because negative x times negative x is positive. And we're not done yet, because now we're going to solve for x. X is all by itself. No, it's not. I meant all the square roots are gone. Now I'm going to get all the x's on one side. And since there's an x squared, I'm going to try to do factoring first. So I make it equal to 0. Oops. I get x squared minus x minus 2. Let's see if that factors. X and x. Minus 2 and plus 1. Let's check that. Minus 2x plus 1x. Yes, that does check the minus x in the middle. So x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, x equals 2, x equals negative 1. Are we done? We're done, right? Why not? We're not done. Why not? We got to check our answers. Hey, you going to sign something for me real fast? Sorry. It's open in one of these tabs. So you just sign it right there. I can send it to you if you want to see it later. It's all right. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry about that interruption. Back to the fun we were having. Am I done? Nah, because what do I need to do? Check it. We got to check the answer. So here we go. Check it out. Check it, check it, check it. I got to go back to the beginning, though. I don't remember my question. So we've got square root x plus 2 plus 1. So I'm going to do square root 2 plus 2 plus 1 equals square root 3 minus x. Oh, geez. So we get square root of 4 plus 1 equals, I forgot to plug in my 2 here. Square root of 1, so I've got 2 plus 1 equals 1. That's not true. How about square root negative 1 plus 2 plus 1 equals square root 3 minus negative 1. So square root of 1 plus 1 equals square root of 4. One plus 1 equals 2. Oh, yeah, that's check. Big old check. So we finally have our answer. It is x equals negative 1. Okay, not every question will be like the last one, but definitely wanted to make sure that I had that in here. There is a question or two that look like this, but have a cube. I don't want to do the whole question because I want you guys to have, more time, but there's definitely a question that looks something like this. If I were going to start number 5, do you see I put a little cube in there? I just stuck it in there because it didn't say that already. If I were going to start number 5, what should I do first? I'm going to cube so that I do not have that cube root anymore. So I'm going to cube, but I have to do both sides. So I'm going to have 10x plus 9 equals, and now I have x plus 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. So you would have to, and we've done this before in here, I think it was chapter 4 when we did this. You would have to multiply 2 of these together. Take that answer and multiply it by the third one. This doesn't have an answer because I just totally made this one up, but you would have, I'm just showing you, you'd have to write this 3 times and multiply it, okay? Now for our assignment, if you didn't finish the one that's due today, make sure you get that finished. The next time we meet is Friday. And then I am not going to expect that this is totally done on Friday because it's kind of long and I feel like we spent a long time talking today. So I'm going to give you odd only to start. We will go back and do the evens. So don't scribble them out, but we're just going to do odd only from that worksheet.